Center court. The All England Club. The grass is immaculate. The roof is open, letting in the golden light of a perfect London afternoon. And a 21-year-old from Quezon City has just played the match of her life. She didn't win. The scoreboard reads 6-4, for 6-3 in favor of Jasmine Paolini. The dream run that captivated the tennis world has come to an end after 2 hours and 22 minutes of gripping tennis. But in defeat, Alexandra Eala has done something far more powerful than any victory could have achieved. She has won every heart in center court. As she walks to the net to shake Paolini's hand, the crowd rises. Not a polite applause, a standing ovation. A roar that shakes the hallowed grounds of SW19. The same crowd that had been on the edge of their seats for over 2 hours is now on their feet, cheering for the woman who lost. Because in tennis, sometimes the scoreboard doesn't tell the whole story. Sometimes the player who walks off the court in defeat is the one who leaves the greatest legacy. This is the story of that moment. This is the story of how the Wimbledon crowd showed Alexandra Eala that she had won something far greater than any match. Let's begin. To understand why the crowd gave Eala a standing ovation in defeat, you have to understand what she had already achieved and what she did on that court against Jasmine Paolini. Just 2 days earlier, Eala had done the unthinkable. She had beaten Iga Swiatek, the defending champion, the 6-time Grand Slam winner, on center court. She had become the first player from the Philippines to reach the 4th round of a Grand Slam in the Open era. She had made history. Now, standing across the net was Jasmine Paolini, the 13th seed, the 2024 Wimbledon finalist, a woman who knew exactly what it took to win on this surface. The match was a battle from the very first point. Paolini struck first, breaking Eala's serve to seize a 4-1 lead. Eala refused to fold. She erased set points and broke back. The second set was a statement. Eala came out aggressively, broke Paolini's serve, and forced a decider. But in the third set, Paolini's experience ultimately prevailed. The Italian took control, winning the final 3 games to book her place in the quarterfinals. 6-4, 4-6, 6-3. Eala had lost, but she had fought until the very end, and the crowd knew they had witnessed something special. She's a great player, Paolini would later say. She has a huge crowd with her. Now on the bridge they were like screaming, "Alex! Alex! It's so good for our sport. I think she's a star of our sport." The match commentator described Eala as a player who is very easy to like, and the crowd had fallen in love with her. The match was over, but the moment that would capture the world's hearts was just beginning. The on-court interviewer walked up to Eala. She was still catching her breath, still processing the defeat, still processing the journey that had brought her here. And then she spoke. In a moment that would be replayed millions of times, Alex Eala let the world know what the path that got her this far was all about. She first rattled off the names of the Williams sisters and Swiatek, saying that making the 4th round of Wimbledon may seem small to them. And then she dropped the phrase that broke the internet. For someone who grew up in the Philippines, I went to train with my brother and my grandfather every day after school with my ruffled socks, my light-up shoes and chubby cheeks. To her, this is everything. The words hung in the air like a thunderclap. The crowd, which included some of England's royalty, gave her a standing ovation and a long applause. The tennis world was stunned, not by the loss, but by the vulnerability, the humanity, the reminder that behind the rankings, behind the headlines, behind the hype, there is a young woman who is still processing the magnitude of what she has achieved. Eala later told a packed media room, "It's an honor to be able to pave the way for young girls. It would be the honor of my life to be able to inspire others." The clip went viral within hours. Social media exploded. Fans around the world were moved to tears. A 21-year-old from a country with no tennis tradition had just shown the world what it truly means to be a champion, in victory and in defeat. The standing ovation from center court was not just for the match Eala had just played. It was for everything she had done over the past week, for every barrier she had broken, for every heart she had touched. Wimbledon's official account posted, "A standing ovation from center court." The loss did not diminish Eala's historic campaign on tennis' most grandiose stage. In another trail-blazing bid, Eala became the first Filipino to reach the round of 16 in a Grand Slam singles tournament. She had unseeded defending champion Iga Swiatek in straight sets on Saturday. She had made history. The crowd that had been on the edge of their seats for over 2 hours was now on their feet. They clapped. They cheered. They waved. They knew they had witnessed something that would be remembered for generations. The standing ovation was more than just applause. It was a recognition of everything Eala represented. A young woman from a country with no grass court tradition who had walked onto center court and conquered the biggest stage in tennis. A player who had carried the hopes of 112 million Filipinos on her shoulders and refused to let them down. She's like a ray of hope for the Philippines, fan Roberto Ocampo Jr. said at Wimbledon. She's become a symbol of what Filipinos can accomplish on the global stage. And the world had fallen in love with her. The reaction to Eala's defeat and her emotional post-match interview was immediate and overwhelming. Billie Jean King, the 39-time Grand Slam champion and founder of the WTA, had already embraced Eala after her victory over Swiatek. She called Eala an inspiration. Roger Federer was in the stands, watching from the royal box. The 8-time Wimbledon winner had seen it all, but even he was moved by what he witnessed. Jasmine Paolini herself, the woman who had ended Eala's run, had nothing but praise. It was a tough match. She's a great player. She has a huge crowd with her. Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. posted a message on social media, hailing the run as a true inspiration. The entire nation had rallied behind her. Around 8,000 fans gathered at the Philsports Arena in Manila to watch her fourth-round match. They held small Philippine flags handed out by organizers and erupted after every Eala point. When she fell to Paolini, the crowd gave her a standing ovation in recognition of a historic campaign. The social media tributes poured in by the thousands. The phrase, Eala Mania, continued to trend across platforms. Fans shared videos of her post-match interview, each one accompanied by tears and messages of gratitude. Eala had not just made history. She had inspired a generation. And the world was watching. The defeat to Paolini was not the end of Alexandra Eala's story. It was just the beginning. Despite the loss, Eala walked away with a career-best Wimbledon performance. She compiled a 12-4 record on grass courts this season, which included her second WTA 125 title at the Birmingham Open and a semifinal appearance at the Berlin Open. She also earned victories over former Wimbledon champion Elena Rybakina, world number 8 Alina Svitolina, and defending Wimbledon champion Iga Swiatek. She secured the biggest payout of her career, £309,000, approximately $25.39 million. With her fourth-round finish, she is projected to reach a new career best rank of number 28. But the victory was about more than rankings and prize money. It was about belief. It was about validation. It was about showing the world that a 21-year-old from a country with no grass court tradition could conquer the biggest stage in tennis. We're very proud of where we come from, Eala said. We have a very strong sense of community. You can see it when someone does well. We're a community that uplifts each other. We're quite positive people, and when positive things happen to other Filipinos around the world, I think we just kind of share the enjoyment and share the happiness. So many positives, Eala said after her fourth-round exit. One, I think, is how I've handled pressure. I'm happy with how I faced it head-on. I think I kept cool when I needed to, controlled my emotions, and overall performed the best that I could that day. The loss to Paolini was not a failure. It was a stepping stone, a reminder that even the most magical runs must come to an end, a reminder that the journey is just as important as the destination. Eala lost the match, but she won every tennis fan's heart. Because I am emotional doesn't mean I am satisfied, she had said. She wasn't satisfied. She wanted more. And now, she had proven that she belonged among the best in the world. And that, my friends, is a victory that will last forever. Eala K and PE line at Crni High etc. And that, my friends, is how a 21-year-old from Quezon City walked on a center court, lost the match, but won the hearts of millions. She fought until the very end. She cried tears of gratitude. She dedicated her journey to the little girl with ruffled socks and light-up shoes. And when she walked off the court, the entire stadium rose to its feet. The standing ovation said everything. Billie Jean King called her an inspiration. Roger Federer watched from the royal box. 8,000 fans cheered from Manila. The tennis world was stunned. The fans were moved. And one thing is certain. Alexandra Eala has arrived. And she is just getting started. This is the rise of a phenomenon. This is the rewriting of tennis history. And trust me, this is only the beginning.